Hi there, this is Mandy Kay from Soul Strategies, and you are tuning in to the mini career class today. And we're going to talk about the top 4 ways to discover your strengths. But first, I have to show you this beautiful location. I am sitting at Christmas Beach, which is pretty amazing. This is only a couple of minutes away from where I live. Let's just swivel this around so you can just see where I am. It's this quiet little location. That's Brunswick Heads over there across the river, and the ocean's over that way. So, yeah. We've got the whole beach to ourselves. It's just you and me. And yeah, today I am going to share. So I've got my little notebooks. Actually, I was going to mention, you'll only get this reference if you grew up in the 80s and you lived in Australia during that time. I was figuring for these little mini career classes, it would be fun to tune in from different locations. I live near Byron Bay, and which is one of the top tourist destinations in Australia. I thought maybe you want to see it. And there used to be this aerobics class on TV during the 80s, and they would do their classes at different locations around Sydney. I used to always find it so fascinating where they were going to tune in from. Okay, so getting started, you're here, you're tuning in because you would like to transition out of whatever you're doing right now in your career to something that feels more deeply meaningful, more fulfilling, that lights you up, that energizes you. That's your own creative endeavor, whether that's a business or a project or an initiative of some sort that you want to make, that's going to make a difference in the world, that's going to have an impact, positively to the lives of others. It's going to help create social change and, basically the revolution in the world that we need. And that we want. And one of the key parts of that is to know what your strengths are. There are things that you do just naturally, so naturally that you probably don't even realize that it's a strength because it comes so naturally. You're probably just thinking, everybody does this. The truth is, no, not everybody finds it as easy as you. And that's part of what your gifts are to share in the world. And there's been some studies shown that, people who focus on their strengths and use their strengths in their work and in their lives are, they're like 3 times more likely to report having excellent quality of life. They feel more confident. They feel, happier, more energized in their work, and they also have less stress and worry. We don't really need scientific studies to tell us that, though. Really, like, common sense says that if we're focusing on what we feel we're good at, life is going to be more enjoyable, right? And if you've come on the line, say hello. Let me know who you are. I can't see who's on. I know other people do when they're on these Facebook lives, but I can't see it. So say hi, so I know who you are, because I'm really glad that you're joining in this morning. Hello, there's more people on the line. Say hello. So, strengths. Now, I wanted to share a story about this particular aspect to our own self-discovery and our own self-awareness when we're looking to find that thing that's going to light us up. Hey, Angie, nice to have you here. Thanks for tuning in. So there was a particular moment in my career. I was a career coach. I was already lecturing and coaching at the university. I am still there. I've been there almost 7 years now. Now, this was a few years ago, and I was feeling really super stuck. I was not feeling lit up with my work. And it was this sense that I just knew that there was something else more for me. I was like, this can't be it. And it defied logic. Everybody was like, but it's such a good job. And there were moments in my job that I just loved, where I just felt completely energized, and I'd walk away from my day going, oh my God, it's not that bad. But inside, I just knew that there was something else that I wanted to be doing, and I didn't know what. And I felt super stuck. I felt lost. Look, the irony was not lost on me that I was a career coach feeling like that. And so there came a point when I was like, look, I've got to do something about this. I can't just keep going on like this. And I thought, maybe I should see someone. Maybe I should go and see a career coach. And then I thought, at the time I was like, Mandy, you are a career coach. Like, what would you tell clients to do who are feeling stuck and confused? And I was like, well, the very first step to preparing to find our callings, that thing that we really feel like we're destined to do, is self-discovery, and to get really well acquainted with, who I am, my goals, my dreams, desires, and my strengths. And so I embarked on this, this self-exploration journey of really starting to get to know me. And this leads to the very first way, that helped me at that time to really discover what my strengths were. And I've got the book here. And it's called StrengthsFinder 2.0 by Tom Rath. And I found this book. And there's a little, there's a coupon inside each book to do the assessment. And you can go and you do this assessment. It doesn't take too long, like 20 minutes or so. And it will give you a big report on what your key strengths are. And, for me, like in the career development world, we call this a vocational assessment. And you might have already done some of those quizzes and things that are on the internet. They're of varying quality and accuracy, the ones that are just freely available. I highly recommend that you generally pay for things because the quality is going to be higher. And these kinds of assessments and tools, they're never going to spit out the magic answer for us. Sorry, there's never going to be like, Mandy, you should be A and fill in the blank and just give me the answer. But what they can do is they can be a really good self-reflection tool. So that's what I did. And so I did this StrengthsFinder 2.0, and I discovered that, all of my key 5 strengths, things like empathy, really loving building connection with people. I'm a developer according to the assessment, which is I love cultivating the potential of other people. And the one that surprised me, which was they call it the woo, which is I love winning people. I love meeting new people and winning them over. And I remember thinking, wow, okay, because I'm a bit of an introvert, I admit. No one ever believes me when I say that, but it's true. So sometimes I can get really shy meeting new people. But one thing that I do love to do is when I teach, when I go into classes, I love winning them over. I love creating really engaging content and learning experiences. And so anyway, the thing that got me out of doing this assessment was recognizing that my current job allowed me to use all my strengths. And so that was the first key, because then it showed me, okay, I'm not completely off path here. And it allowed me to drop the resistance to what was happening, which freed up some energy for more creativity and more problem solving. And it, it's a bit more of a longer story about how it really led me to relaunch Soul Strategies. But it was such a key piece to recognize that my strengths were being used in my current role. And therefore, just by virtue of really acknowledging that, I didn't resist it as much. So I highly recommend it going and grabbing StrengthsFinder 2.0. If you've done it, share with me in the comments what you thought about it, what insights you got. if you've heard of it, or if it's new. If it's new, I'm glad to be able to share it with you. I'm not too sure whether they have an online version yet. I know when I looked for it back then, and I thought it would be easier just to have an online version. I'm sure that they do already, where you don't have to buy the hard copy book. But that's for those of you just tuning in. Strength Finder 2.0 is the first way that I recommend and invite you to use to help explore what your strengths are. The second way is to look at what others say about you consistently. You can either reflect on things that you know that people say about you, or go and ask them. Go and get a selection of people. It could be, friends and family, but go and ask people that you've worked with, past and present, and ask them what they see that your key strengths and qualities are, because sometimes people see things that we can't see. And I know in my case, when I was thinking about that particular aspect, it was really clear to me that one of the things that people consistently have said in varying different scenarios, whether it's in my personal life or at work, is that they feel safe with me. And that really relates to that very first key strength that StrengthsFinder 2.0 highlighted, which is my capacity to be empathetic. And I do really love that about what I do, and working with clients is building really safe space for people to be really honest with themselves and with me about what they really want, what's really in their heart, what's really happening in their lives. It was really interesting. Like, even when I was having, a few crazy weekends in my 20s. And I remember consistently people would say, "Oh, I just feel really safe when you're around, Mandy." This is not something that's consciously with me. And there are things that you do so unconsciously that are just so innate in you. And you've been doing them since you were young, because these are the gifts and the talents that you brought in with you. They're not of, the body, I believe. I think that you came in with them from a soul level. And the things that people say are the clues to what they are. So even just sit down and have a little bit of a journaling exercise around that, and allow yourself to reflect on that and to go out and ask people. The third way to discover your strengths are, hang on, I got to look at my notes. Hang on. Third way. Oh yeah, it goes, it's an extension of that. What you naturally do is look at the things that give you lots of energy, because the things that energize you, the things that after you do them, you just walk away going, yeah, I rocked that. That feels so good. There are also keys to what your strengths are. Like, what were you actually doing in those moments when you were like, yeah, totally in my flow, I'm in my zone, I'm like rocking it out. What were you doing? What strengths and skills were you using in that moment? For me, it's really clear. I walk away from any lectures or workshops or where I get to talk in front of people. And you know what? I've been doing that since I was also really young. I was always the public speaker and the debater in high school. I love to talk. My mum even recently was reflecting about wondering, what is it that Mandy's really good at? And she acknowledged, we acknowledge that you're really good at talking. And you know what? Talking makes me, gives me a lot of energy. So it's evidently one of my strengths is to be able to get up in front of people and to talk. I love it. And it feels really normal and natural to me. So what are those things that give you energy? And you walk away and you're just like, yeah, this is good. Because there's keys in that. And you know what? They're the things that you want to be doing more of in the work that you are truly destined to do, and to make the impact. Because, when you are completely in alignment and using these natural gifts and talents, rather than trying to, push the proverbial shit up the hill and cultivate things that aren't natural to you, and there's parts of that, like, I'm still learning about copywriting and things and technology, getting to know more about technology doing my business. But if you make the core activities in your business, in your projects that you create, that are just coming really naturally to you, you're going to shine. Okay, that brings us to the fourth way. The fourth way to discover your strengths. One of the activities I always get new clients to do is a career timeline. So to actually sit down and reflect on where you've come from. It's a useful activity for them to reflect on what's brought them up until this, to this point. It also helps fill the gaps in for me. But as far as your strengths go, look at your timeline, look at your career timeline, the things that you've done. And for this particular aspect of the exercise, really look at the times that you felt like you were operating at your best. Like, where were you feeling like you were, really achieving in a way that felt deeply satisfying to you, and you felt like things were really in flow and things were going well? What were the strengths that you were displaying at the time? And you might even start to see a theme of strengths, through those different parts of your career up until this point, or maybe not. But there'll be some key things that you were, key strengths that you were displaying, qualities that you were exhibiting, skills that you were using that were really helping you feel like, things were going super well. So there is our recap. So the recap are for the top 4 ways to discover your strengths. And your strengths is so key to really just being your absolute best in life, in your career. It really holds such an important foundational piece for you to get clear on what it is that you are here to do and to create. That life-changing, that game-changing idea that you have inside of you that, you may be completely oblivious to at the moment, but are searching for because you're tuning in right now. Or you might already have an inkling of it. Your strengths are what's going to actually help you create it and to birth it and launch it and succeed at it. Number 1, I highly recommend StrengthsFinder 2.0. Here it is again. I'm not an affiliate for it. So, StrengthsFinder 2.0, go and look at what other people are saying, either reflect on that or go and ask them for feedback. 3, look at what you naturally do, what gives you energy, what things just light you up. And 4, looking at that career timeline and looking at those times that you were really operating at your peak and at your best and what strengths you were displaying at that point. I hope this has been helpful to you. It has been really super lovely tuning in from the beautiful Christmas beach. You want to have a look at this. Oh, so good. I'm going to sit here and do some journaling now and my meditation, and let me know how you go. Let me know in the comments what, how this was useful to you, and I look forward to hearing from you. And I will be tuning in again this time next week for another little mini career cast, and I would love to share it with you. Have a fantastic day, evening, morning, wherever you are in the world. Ciao.